I will tell you, I remember sitting in my hotel room that night and having both belts and thinking to myself, my God, this is really happening. But it's something you always dream of. You dream of getting an opportunity to go out there and try to connect with people and be put in the spotlight. And sometimes when it happens, you don't see it happening. But I remember sitting in the hotel room, both beds sitting on both belts laying on the other bed, and thinking to myself, this is real. Like, this is really happening. I'm really getting an opportunity to go out there. And at that point, I remember Ron, the next night Ron saw me. He goes, boy, they're putting a lot of trust in you. And I was like, yeah, I know. And he goes, don't let me down. And that's all I had to hear. It wasn't don't let them down. It's don't let me down. And I tried my best right from there to just go. And every night work as hard as I could and never take a night off and prove that they made the right choice by putting some faith in me.
Now, if Ron Simmons says that to you on one aspect, it's like, wow, there's so much respect there, but then there's the other side of the spectrum. It's like, he's probably the scariest, toughest guy in the history of business. You better not let him down.
No, and Ron, like, till this day, he's my mentor. He's my pseudo-father, and if Ron tells me to jump, I'm just jumping, and I'll ask how high when I'm in the air. It's just Ron is just that kind of a person, I wanted nothing more. I would never do anything. I never wanted to let him down, particularly in a wrestling ring or anything, because he was one of the reasons why I was there in the first place. So, it's guys like him who blaze a trail for guys my generation to come up and even they have an opportunity. So I wasn't going to let Ron down.
Now you lose the IC title back, or both belts, to Jeff Jarrett. You lose the European and the IC to Jeff. Obviously, Jeff Jarrett is somebody that is, not, I wouldn't say a veteran. I mean, at this point, he was a pseudo-veteran, but obviously now a veteran, obviously now a guy that you've known for a long time. But then, what did you think about working with Jeff Jarrett? It seemed like you guys did have some pretty damn good chemistry at that point.
I love working with Jeff. We had great chemistry, and the fun part about working with Jeff is he had ideas for spots that people hadn't seen in 15 years. People forget that Jeff was working, 10 or 12 years before he came to WWFE, down in Memphis. So, pardon me. Jeff had matches upon matches long before I was even in the business. So Jeff had such a creative mind. It was so easy to just go out there and follow him and throw my 2 cents in it, and we would have, great matches all over the country, and I enjoyed working with him.
And obviously, you guys would meet later on in your TNA days, but I'll stay on WWF for just a second here. So many good guys at that point that you don't even realize it, that you're like kind of in there with mixing it up. Chris Jericho, for instance, a guy that from your Smoky Mountain days. Triple H obviously would go on to become something much bigger, but great guy. But I want to just talk about the British Bulldog for a second, because you had like a brief little time and a feud with him. Was it great working with Bulldog at that point? Because obviously, he was kind of, injured a little bit, but he was still that British Bulldog that we remember, that awesome work.
Yeah, no, it was fun being out there, and it was just, look, I was living at my childhood dreams being in the ring with, British Bulldog, because I remember when they came in and they won the tag team title. So to be out there in the ring with them was a tremendous feeling, and then to be battling over the European title, you go a guy like Val Venus who was my roommate in Puerto Rico. Many people don't know that. It was once again, that was another deep roster of talent, that WWF/E locker room from 97 to 2002. It was a very deep locker room, and every guy there had the ability to be a top guy, a top star. Every girl there to go out there, and if given the opportunity, they could have been a top act, and that was a learning experience to be out there with them.
Now, at this point, there's so many, like you said, so many good guys, so many talented guys, such a deep roster, and it's funny looking back. It's like, wow, look at The Rock. He's the number one star in Hollywood, arguably one of the biggest wrestling stars of all time. Then you even look back and it's like, wow, he's running the WWF. He became a huge star. He's still main eventing. Did you see Triple H kind of at that point, like having aspirations of kind of getting into that side of the business, or was he still just one of the boys?
He was still just one of the boys. I mean, you saw him. he's a ring general, and he knew how to control the ring, and that was something he was really good at, and he was really respected in the locker room. But I never saw that business side of him until he got into it, and then you're like, oh, he's perfect for that. Just knowing him, so you didn't see it happening, but once you did start to see it, you're like, he's gonna grow there and do well.